She walked a full day before she realized he was gone. A full day. Not an hour. Not until dinner. A full day of travel, of dust, of conversation with relatives, of assuming he was somewhere in the crowd ahead. And then the sun going down and the camp going quiet, and the moment she looked around and understood. He wasn't there. Her 12-year-old son, in a city of 50,000 strangers. Behind them now, by a full day's walk. The Gospels give us this story in 11 verses. 11. But what happened inside those 3 days, inside her body, her mind, her faith, is the part no sermon ever stays inside long enough. We're going in right now. To feel what Mary felt, you have to understand how this journey worked. Passover in Jerusalem was not optional for observant Jewish families. Deuteronomy commanded it. Every male was required to appear before God 3 times a year. Passover, Pentecost, Tabernacles. For families in Galilee, Passover was the pilgrimage, the one that mattered most. Nazareth to Jerusalem, 80 miles, 3 to 4 days on foot through the hill country of Samaria or the Jordan Valley Road. And no one traveled alone. Villages moved together. Entire communities, extended families, neighbors, cousins 3 times removed, gathered into caravans for safety and company. The roads in first-century Palestine were not safe for individuals. Bandits, Roman patrols, rough terrain. You traveled in numbers, and within those caravans, children moved freely. Women and children typically walked together at the front or middle of the group. Men toward the back and sides. A 12-year-old boy, old enough to move between groups, young enough to still be considered a child, could reasonably be expected to drift between his mother's circle and his father's without either one tracking his exact position hour by hour. This was not negligence. This was how the ancient world moved. And it is exactly why it took a full day to know he was gone. Picture the evening camp. The caravan has stopped for the night. Fires being lit. Bread being passed. Children called in from the edges of the group. The noise settling into the lower register of a tired community finding its rest. Mary moves through the familiar faces looking for his. She checks with Joseph first. The way you check with your husband when you assume the other one has the child. Casual, not yet worried, just confirming. Joseph hasn't seen him since morning. She checks the cousins, the neighbors, the aunts who always kept an eye on the younger children. She works her way through the caravan asking the same question in different faces. No one has seen him since Jerusalem. Luke 2:44 says they supposed him to be in the company. That word, supposed, is the entire tragedy in a single syllable. They had supposed. They had assumed. They had done what every parent does in a familiar crowd with a capable child. And now the sun was down. And the city was a full day behind them. And her son was 12 years old and somewhere inside 50,000 Passover pilgrims, and she did not know where. That is the moment. Not a dramatic scene, not a sudden cry. Just a mother working through a crowd at dusk, asking the same question, getting the same answer, and feeling the ground shift under her feet with every no. Shh! They turned around that night, or at first light. Luke doesn't tell us exactly when they started back, only that they returned to Jerusalem searching for him. But the logic of the journey tells us they couldn't wait. A full day out means a full day back. Every hour of delay was another hour he was alone in a city that was already emptying of pilgrims. Passover crowds came and went fast. The city that had held hundreds of thousands of worshippers was draining back into the countryside. The window for finding him in a recognizable crowd was closing. So they walked back. Think about that walk. No sleep, or very little. The same road they had just traveled, now in reverse, now with a different weight on it. Every step away from the caravan was a step deeper into the question she couldn't stop asking. Where is he? Where is he? She would have prayed the Psalms. That was what Jewish mothers did in crisis. The words of David that had been pressed into her since childhood. Psalm 121. I lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley, the prayers she had spoken over his cradle were now the only words she had for the road back to a city that had swallowed her son. And underneath the prayers, the thoughts no mother can pray away. What if someone took him? What if he is hurt? What if the city that kills its prophets has already done something to a 12-year-old boy who speaks like no 12-year-old should? She didn't know who he was going to be yet, not fully, but she had been carrying the angel's words for 12 years. She knew what had been said over him, and the distance between what Gabriel promised and what could happen to a lost child in a Roman-occupied city was a gap wide enough to fall into completely. She walked back anyway. Luke says 3 days. Day 1, traveling back. Day 2, searching the city. Day 3, finding him. Or perhaps the day they realized he was gone, the full day returning, and the day of searching before they found him. The chronology is slightly debated. What is not debated is that it was not a few hours. It was days. Jerusalem, after Passover, was a city in the process of exhaling. Tens of thousands of pilgrims moving out through the gates. Market stalls being packed. Streets that had been impassable now opening back into ordinary life. Finding one 12-year-old in that flux was not a matter of checking a few obvious places. They searched. The word Luke uses, anazetuntes, means to search thoroughly, to seek up and down. This was not a casual look around. This was a systematic, desperate, exhausting search through a city that was actively dispersing. She checked the places she knew, the temple courts, massive, crowded, multiple levels, the market near the pool of Siloam, the streets of the lower city where pilgrims camped, the gates, the wells. She asked everyone she passed, "Have you seen a boy, 12 years old, from Galilee, brown tunic, answers to the name Yeshua?" 50,000 people had just been in this city. Most of them were already gone. The ones remaining were strangers. 3 days. They found him in the temple, not hiding, not frightened, not apologetic, sitting in the middle of the teachers, listening, asking questions. And the teachers, men who had spent their lives in the Torah, were astonished at his understanding and his answers. Luke 2:46 to 47. The 12-year-old boy who had just put his mother through 3 days of Jerusalem was holding his own in a theological discussion with the senior scholars of Judaism. And Mary, who had walked 2 days and searched a third, who had not slept properly since the evening she realized he was gone, who had prayed every psalm she knew against the images her mind kept producing. Mary saw him across the temple court, sitting there, perfectly fine, talking about God. And she said what every mother in the history of mothers would have said. Luke 2:48. "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been searching for you in great anxiety." The Greek word translated great anxiety is odunomenoi. It means pain, anguish. The same word is used in Luke 16 for the torment of the rich man in Hades. It is not a mild word. It is not polite maternal concern. She was in pain. She named it, out loud, in front of the teachers. That is not a passive woman. That is a mother who had earned the right to that sentence by walking 2 days and searching a third and feeling things no painting has ever tried to hold. He answered her, Why were you searching for me? Did you not know that I must be about my Father's business? Or in some translations, in my Father's house. The Greek is ambiguous. Both meanings are likely intentional. He is not being cruel. He is not being dismissive. He is speaking from inside a reality that she has not fully entered yet. The reality of who he is, what he is here for, what the temple means to him at a level that has nothing to do with Passover pilgrimage. But Mary didn't understand. Luke says it plainly. They did not understand the saying that he spoke to them. The woman who had been carrying the angel's words for 12 years. The woman who had sung the Magnificat in Elizabeth's house. The woman who had treasured the shepherd's words and the star and the strange men from the east and every other impossible thing that had gathered around his birth. She did not understand this. And that is one of the most important lines in all of Scripture, because it tells us that faith and understanding are not the same thing. That you can be the most faithful person in a story and still not see all of it. That treasuring and understanding are different acts, and Mary was called to do the first long before she was given the second. She didn't understand. She went home. She kept going. Luke 2:51. And his mother treasured all these things in her heart. The second time Luke uses this phrase. The first was after the shepherds. Now again, after 3 days of anguish and an answer she couldn't decode. She is building something, not understanding, something harder than understanding, a practice of holding, of keeping the unexplainable close rather than forcing it into a shape it doesn't fit. Every strange thing, every word she couldn't follow, every moment where he was more than she could fully see. She picked it up. She put it inside herself. She kept moving. For 18 more years, he was in Nazareth. Luke 2:52. He increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. 18 years of ordinary life in a village of 400 people, growing up, working, being her son. She had 3 days in Jerusalem, and then she had 18 years of a boy who did what she said and grew into a man and gave her no public reason to wonder about the teachers in the temple until the day he walked into the Jordan River and everything changed. She carried those 3 days for 18 years. The anguish, the finding, the answer she didn't understand, the silence that followed. She treasured it. She kept going. She trusted the character of the one who had asked for her yes 12 years before and had not yet explained all of what that yes would cost. Step back now. The full day of not knowing. The turn back at dusk. The 2-day walk with the Psalms and the fear. The 3 days searching a city that was emptying. The moment she saw him across the temple court, perfectly fine, talking about God. The sentence she earned the right to say. The answer she couldn't understand. The second treasuring. This was 3 days of her life. 3 days out of 30 years of raising him. 3 days that Luke thought important enough to include when he had almost nothing else from the childhood. Because these 3 days tell us something no other story in the Gospels tells us. That Mary did not understand everything. That faith carried her through the places understanding couldn't reach. That a woman can be chosen by God and still spend 3 days in a city searching for something she cannot find, and come out the other side still holding, still trusting, still moving forward. Here is the quiet truth. If you have ever lost something you loved and walked back to find it, not knowing what you would find, if you have ever heard an answer from God that made no sense and had to carry it anyway, if you have ever treasured something you didn't understand because letting it go felt more dangerous than holding it, you are inside Mary's story. She was not exempt from the searching. She was not exempt from the anguish. She was not exempt from the answer that didn't satisfy. But she treasured it, and she kept going. If this changed how you picture those 3 days, share it with someone who is in the middle of their own search right now. Subscribe if you want to keep walking through the stories no one tells you. Drop in the comments. What hit you hardest? The full day before she knew? The walk back? The answer she couldn't understand? I read everyone. See you in the next one.